Ji, thank you very much for having me, and I'm really delighted to hear General Saab, Alok Bansal ji, Razak Saab. Uh, I think if we just touch the current situation in Balochistan, of course, Razak Baloch Bhai knows better than me, but I'll emphasize what you showed, General Saab, Maulana Fazul Rahman and Maran Baloch clips. Maulana Fazlur Rahman is a jihadi mullah. He is the reason for jihad in Kashmir as well. But he is confessing, in fact, that things are out of hand, things are out of control in some areas in Balochistan. Why is that? My question is, why is that with that huge army, as Razak Bhai said, Pakistan army is covered. There is no doubt in that. But unfortunately, they are nuclear state and they are doing atrocities in Balochistan. But despite all those atrocities, all those issues created by Pakistan army, Baloch, especially young Baloch, what I'm hearing from Balochistan through my journalistic resources, that now the young Baloch in many parts of Balochistan are realizing that they'll be either picked up by these army goons, they'll be killed. So why shouldn't they fight for their land? Why shouldn't fight for their human rights? In fact, in my personal humble perception and understanding, the issue in Balochistan for the young generation in Balochistan is more about human rights than the land now. The land issue was more relevant to the friends like Razak Baloch age and the people, his elders. But the young people in this social media age, they are more concerned about human rights. They are feeling that some of them tried to their best to work with Pakistan state, but things never worked out. As Razak Bhai knows, for instance, Mr. Akhtar Ming, he worked with the Pakistani government. Even Dr. Tara Chand, he was in the Baluchistan cabinet. But in the end, they all realized that they cannot work with this state. So in this situation of massive human rights abuses, now the youth in Balochistan is ready to take the state of Pakistan head on. And that's what they are doing, in fact. The other factor, what Razak Bhai, pointed out, is the silence of international community. For instance, in our recent days, we hear a lot about Ukraine. You talk a little bit about, peace deal or anything in Ukraine. The whole Western media, including BBC, even Al Jazeera, they all, you know, keep talking. Oh my God, Russia invaded Ukraine. First, we have to address this issue. Okay, has the Western world addressed Balochistan issue? What is the main crux in this issue? Pakistan invaded Baluchistan in March 1948. And I'm a Canadian, proud Canadian, but unfortunately, our Canadian company, as Razak Bhai mentioned, is bringing gold out of the mines from Balochistan. And Canadian Prime Minister, shame on him. I'm saying on record, Justin Trudeau, talking a lot about Russian invasion in Ukraine, but either his Prime Minister Justin Trudeau or the previous Prime Minister, they all let Barrick Gold to take gold out of Balochistan. So this is India's responsibility because Baloch are doing what they can do. They are already doing their part. India can galvanize international media. India can galvanize this narrative through their media. By the way, I mean, India doesn't have international media, unfortunately. That's another sad part. But but India should do its responsibility. And as the Alok Bansalji said, that why is it hard for Baloch people to get independence? Because they don't have sport. But look at the statement of Maulana Fazlur Rahman. There is no substantial support from India or any country. But despite all those odds, I salute Baloch people. They are ready to get independence from Pakistan, as the Maulana Fazlur Rahman himself confessing in his statement. So I'll sum up my remarks with an appeal to India through your channel, General Shankar Sahab, that India should galvanize support for Baloch narrative. I'm using the word narrative. Baloch narrative. India should talk to Western countries through their forums that you guys talk about invasion of Ukraine 24/7, but you are taking out gold. My own country, sadly, taking out gold from Baluchistan, a country that was invaded by Pakistani state, and not just invasion of land, massive human rights abuses as well. So,
थैंक्स अ लॉट ताहिर भाई आई थिंक आपने बहुत अच्छे अच्छे पॉइंट निकाले हैं सबसे पहले तो इट्स अ मैसिव ह्यूमन राइट सिचुएशन व्हिच हैज गॉन कंप्लीटली अंडर द रडार आई थिंक which is something which is coming out now but you need international spotlight on it and for this I think the Indian government needs to do more right? Just like Pakistan has, blown the Kashmir situation out of proportion, and just like now the Bangladeshi situation is being blown out of proportion, I think it's incumbent on the Indian government to start thinking of, everything beyond India. I'm sure it is, but I think we need what the point which you made is you have to start building a greater narrative. And this greater narrative has to be based on the actual history of the Baluch people and the atrocities they have gone through at the hands of the Pakistani army and the Pakistani people. And it is not only that, and the loot which Razak Bhai mentioned should be known to people. And how that area is being militarized. I'm sure Brigadier Saigal will touch upon it. How China is militarizing Gwadar and wants to make it into a nuclear base also, because even that is on the cards. And if that happens, I actually shudder to think what will happen to the Baluch people. So that is one part of the story. You touched upon another very important thing of silence of the international community and its double standards. When Russia invades Ukraine, the plight of the Ukraine people and the Russian people are highlighted. What happens to Gaza, everything, everyone wants to know, it's all human rights. But when it comes to Baluch people, the human rights standards are on a different dimension altogether. So this is something which needs to be set right. An important point which Razak Bhai said and Tahir Bhai, reinforced is the fact that the night is with the Baluch people. In any situation of this kind, between the people and the state, I call it people and the state because that's the way it is in international parlance. Whether the state is, legal or not, that is a different story. But within in this, the night matters. Who controls the night matters. And by Maulana Diesel's own admission in the National Assembly that there are large tracts of Baluchistan and Pakistan. In fact, if you go through his entire statement, I've just shown what is about Pakistan here. If you go through his entire statement, which covers Khyber Pakhtunkhwa also, there are large tracts of Pakistan where Pakistan army has lost control. And then the situation is pretty bad and it is ripe for secession. And that is why I brought this up, right? And the Baluch people have got control over the night and the land around it uh, by their own capability. And what will happen if a certain amount of moral support is given to them is anybody's guess, right? It has repercussions.
Webcast
It has international repercussions because, like you said, Pakistan is a nuclear state. And I'm sure Brigadier Arun Saigal will touch upon it. Sir, all yours.
Pakistan is meaningless without Balochistan, but it's not a responsibility of Baloch or Balochistan to keep Pakistan a meaningful country because they were independent. They need their independence, and especially in the wake of massive human rights abuses, there is no way Baloch can live with Pakistan anymore. And I mean, as I'm hearing from fellow panelists, that practically it looks difficult that the independence of Balochistan is not possible imminently. But the thing is, Baloch people with their own struggle are making it possible. As we heard the statement of Maulana Fazlur Rahman, without international community's support towards Balochistan, Baloch people are making it possible. So that is the kind of a very interesting scenario that against all odds, either from Chinese side or the silence of Western world or even ineffectivity of India in terms of supporting Balochistan. Uh, Despite there is a huge propaganda in Pakistani press that India is doing whatever is happening in Balochistan. But my Baloch friend asked me that we are not getting support from India, but Pakistani media is blaming for all this scenario. And as Razak Baloch Bhai mentioned about, there is no Baloch in Baloch regiment anymore. So, but we have to find one more question: that where are Baloch? Baloch are not just in so-called Pakistani occupied Balochistan. It They are also in Iranian occupied Balochistan. They are also widespread in Afghanistan. And the fourth part, they are there are Arab Baloch. We usually don't realize they are Arab Baloch because on the Oman coast and even on the UAE, I have personally met many Arab Baloch in UAE as well as in Oman. So as the Prime Minister Modi and the India have very good relations with the Gulf states, I would urge Prime Minister Modi to talk about this issue with the Arab leadership. I mean, I understand that Arabs would not like independence of Balochistan sort of thing, but Arabs will be interested to have their stake, to have their interest, business interest in Balochistan, and they should deal Balochistan as an independent country, in fact. And Arab Baloch understand this reality. Honestly, this is a very important segment, what we miss all the time, that when we talk to Arab Baloch, they are Arab. They can speak Balochi as well. I have met a couple of people. So it is important to take those Arab Baloch on board. They are very influential. They understand the pain, going through Baloch. So I wanted to bring this point as